Hi, this is Mark. On Tuesday in the live training session, I was talking about Bitcoin and livened up. And for those who were with me in 2020, we saw life-changing gains by being involved in Bitcoin. Our Bitcoin was up 650% at one time. Ethereum was up 3,500. Cardano almost 6,000% in 10 months. So it's obviously very tempting to start to think, here we go again, which would be very nice. However, what is going on at the moment and why, I'll cover it in a moment. This is the clear break from Bitcoin. It's been held at 30. 30 on the way up was major previous support. When it came back down, did spike to about 28.5. And then in the last 6 months, 8 months of this year, it's been trapped in a range, bouncing off these EMAs and 30,000. Now it's broken through. And Ethereum, which is the silver to Bitcoin's gold, has also made moves. However, it's still not cleared this weekly 55 on the weekly chart as yet. What tends to happen with crypto is that Bitcoin goes on a run, it drags Ethereum with it and some of the other larger tokens, and then as Bitcoin starts to run out of steam, the smaller alt tokens start to go on a run as well. So it's all about trying to catch the cycles. Now, this current situation with Bitcoin, just to basically show you a few things as well. You get people say, oh, it's far too risky, it's stupid as Bitcoin, this is crazy, nobody in the right mind. Well, hey, we were up over 1,000% in our portfolio in 2021, so I was willing to take the risk. However, what you forget sometimes is that everything else has done something similar. This is Amazon. Amazon recently is down, with COVID, was down 55%. In 2018 was down, I think it was 35%, and a mini crash, 35%. Amazon again had done it again in 2015, 16. Amazon dropped 30%. So when you get all these marketers saying, hey, if you bought Amazon in 1997, you'd now be a multi-millionaire, what they fail to mention is that during that time, there were numerous occasions where the price crashed. And one of the biggest crashes, but not the biggest, was the 2008 crash. And the price from the year before was down 60%. How many Amazon shareholders held their way through all of that lot? Amazon, in fairness, only took a year or so to recover, whereas the S&P, at the same period of time, the S&P took 4 or 5 years to recover. And this is the S&P once again on a weekly. And we had the COVID drop, so as we saw, massive drop there. And then on the way, again, 2018, there was a drop, not as big as significant, obviously, as some of the crypto, only 12, but then the biggie. So were you coming up to retirement in 2007-8, and you had, let's say, $1 million in your pension fund, by the end of 2008, 2009, you were down, your $1 million was worth less than 500,000. And even worse with the S&P, it took 5 years to get back to where it was. Now going back to Amazon as well, even further back, the original purchase of Amazon, Amazon launched, I think it was around 20 cents in 1997, but it went on a run, it went on a Bitcoin kind of run, because Amazon in its early days was up at its peak 2,600%, woohoo! But then it pulled back 50%, 50%, and then here in 2000, and from the peak in 2000 down to the low in 2002, it was down 95%. So don't be fooled by people who are telling you, oh, you just put your money in stocks and just put your money in the blue chips because you'll always make money. You equally had a very, very wild ride. So what's going on at the moment? BlackRock, I think it's the biggest hedge fund in the world, they are trying to get permission from the SEC to have an ETF, an exchange traded fund, meaning that mainstream pensions, etc. would be able to come in, which would bring in a serious potential amount of money. And it's not just BlackRock, there's also VanEck, WisdomTree, Fidelity, Bitwise, Invesco, all have pending Bitcoin ETF applications. Grayscale have been in here for a while and they've just beaten the SEC, and that is not unusual at the moment. The SEC, Gary Gensler, I think, has been put in as the hatchet man to slow down crypto until the US government under Biden can rush out a central bank digital currency, which believe me, you do not want. And in the meantime, Coinbase are also saying they're confident that a Bitcoin ETF will go through. So whilst all of this is going on, the SEC have been trying to slow everything down at the very least. But you've now got Ripple, XRP, have now beaten the SEC 3 times in their fight against them. And Jeremy Hogan, a lawyer who I do recommend you listen to, he is on Twitter and he's made an audacious prediction saying that Ripple will win an appeal against all 3 categories for XRP sales. So XRP Ripple could make massive gains. And XRP Ripple, the advantage for Ripple for users is that the cost of sending money back and forth is massively cheaper with XRP than, for example, PayPal. PayPal, if someone sends money to me from Australia via PayPal, they charge me 4%. And so if a client sends me $10,000, they charge me 4%. They then charge me another 2.5% on exchanging Aussie dollars into euros. So I've now lost $650 to receive $10,000 via PayPal. Ripple would take 3-4 minutes to arrive and would cost me and the sender pennies. So the blockchain for Ripple makes a massive difference. The other thing is that the Ripple blockchain is actually being used, tested at the moment by numerous governments around the world for their own central bank digital currency. So the SEC really has picked the wrong fight. Now, I talked the other day, if you don't want to get involved with the hassle of owning Bitcoin, and the procedures for sending it and receiving it can be a bit scary, especially if it's large amounts, because if you make a mistake, it's gone. So if you're not interested in getting too involved, then one of the ways you could consider, not financial advice, I talked the other day about MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company in the USA, owns $158,000 worth of Bitcoin, which at today's value is around $5 billion worth. He basically has gone all in on Bitcoin. If he is right, he will end up being the richest man, or the company will certainly be the richest company in the world by a long shot. Now, what you can do, and I showed you the other day, I'll show you the charts again, you can consider buying MicroStrategy because it's a way of being involved in Bitcoin without physically opening the tokens. And it also can be more tax advantageous because you get tax write-offs with, certainly in the UK and the USA, maybe you could do it within your pension as well, or with an ISA in the UK. So there are advantages. Also, sometimes I will hedge my Bitcoin by shorting MicroStrategy. Equally, Riot Mining is a Bitcoin miner in the USA. If you have a look on Yahoo under their profile, you will see also they are diversifying into lots of different things. But once again, just like with the silver and gold miners, if the price of Bitcoin shoots up and these guys are mining it, then their bottom line profit will go up exponentially, and either they will become a very wealthy company or they will be very attractive as a buyout from another company. So what do I think is going to happen next with all the things that are being going on at the moment? So what's driving Bitcoin at the moment? Well, I've shown you all of these applications for ETFs, quite probably what's going on. We have been here before and then everything was stalled. If that happens, then this could just as easily drop very quickly. Last time when we were buying this from 2021, we were not buying when it shot off. This is when the silly money gets involved usually. We were waiting for pullbacks and it never went up in a straight line, and I don't believe it will now. If there is a positive announcement, then there is the chance this could shoot up to 40, possibly 50,000 very quickly. If there is a negative announcement or they kick the can down the road again, it could just as easily flip back down and head for 25,000. So it will be a wild ride, and if you haven't got the stomach for it or you haven't got the cash, then best advice is leave it alone. However, another scenario that concerns me with this, if BlackRock and the big boys come in, they will try to talk it down. If they don't do it at the initial stages when they're bringing lots of money in, they will pump it and they will force the price up by buying, and also they will be on the news and in the press talking about that Bitcoin's going to go to 100,000 or more. And at some point they will want to take profit and they will help to force it down big style. This is what goes on in stocks all the time. So my thinking is that this once again will be a wild ride. There will be big drops along the way. I still feel that longer term, probably in the next few years, we could certainly see 100,000, and there's people quite reasonably, I think, in my opinion, saying in the next 5 to 10 years you could see 500,000 per Bitcoin, if not more. At the moment, there are rumours and moves made in America and in the EU to start taxing the rich, not just on income, but on their actual wealth. All the governments are broke, and to me, anybody with any money would be wise to have at least some money, cash, away from the government's claws. So I think that it has longevity. It's mainly to do with the blockchains. I was explaining the benefit with XRP earlier, and a lot of this is all down to what is their blockchain doing. Is it faster, smarter, safer, more transparent, etc., than what is currently available? So my thinking of what's going on, ways that you may choose to get involved if you don't want to buy the actual tokens, and if you're wanting to buy the tokens or even to buy into stocks, then my way of doing it is to be looking for pullbacks as ever, and 30 would certainly be an interesting area to start to think about Bitcoin. Unless it drops really quickly, then I will be more interested down here. Okay, I hope that helps. Catch you later.